This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
You don't wake up dreaming of McDonald's fries. You wake up dreaming of McDonald's hash browns. McDonald's breakfast comes first. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You're listening to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while begging all of our listener to email us answers to our burning questions, please. All right, when we departed yesterday, Eva had just told Gideon about her traumatic past, and he showed her that nothing about his attraction to her had changed as a result. But there's way more relationship merry-go-rounding to do, so let's finish up this part of their journey.
But then he looks at her essentially with like pity in his eyes, and she is not okay with it.
Yeah.
And tells him that, and she's like, "That is exactly why I didn't want to tell you. I don't want you to look at me with pity. I don't want you to look at me differently, hesitant to fuck my sexy body that used to make your dick hard."
Yeah.
And then he whips it out.
She's like, "Is this hard enough for you?"
Yeah, she gets naked. She takes off her little roby robe, and she's like, "Is this like,
look at
do
this
I not
body.
turn you on anymore?" And then he gets up and he whips that dick out, and he's like, "Does this look hard enough for you?" And then they go at it like feral animals on the couch again.
Yeah. And then afterwards, he's like, "Hey, will you hold me? Because now, just like you needed to know that you were still sexy, I need to know that you still like me, even though I went full feral caveman on you just now, and I totally lost control." And she's like, "No, I loved it when you lost control."
He fucks her before she's even fully wet. Like, it was great.
Yeah, everybody loved it.
It was wonderful. So we end up kind of zippy-zapping around because she ends up meeting his brother out on the street. He gives her a invitation to a garden party that Sunday. By the way, this is like 1 week after
maybe. This is like 4 days after they started. Yeah. Well, wait, and he's already warned her away from his brother. He's like, "You need to stay away from my brother." And she's like, "Okay, that's fucking offensive, but whatever." And now the brother's like really buttering her up, and he invites her to a garden party for his like record label. And she's wondering like, why wouldn't Gideon invite me? And it's because he never goes to the parties.
Yeah. And so then we see a scene where they are at his house, whatever, it doesn't matter, but they're spending the night together. And this time when he wakes up from the nightmare, she's like, "Gideon, what's wrong? What's happening?
Tell me what happened to you."
And he tells her, "Nothing. I must just be stressed about work." And she's like, "Meh."
You're fucking lying.
There were 3 possible answers that were acceptable to that.
Yeah.
1 is you tell me what it is. 2 is, can we talk about this tomorrow? 3 is, I'm not ready to talk about it, but telling me that there's nothing to talk about, that's a fucking
lie
limit for me.
Yeah. And she says, "I bared my fucking soul and trauma and everything to you yesterday. And you're going to lie to me about this?" Yeah. And he's like, "No, it's because I started over. I started anew when I met you. And so there's nothing that could have happened, and I'm fine. And I'm just like stressed or whatever." And she's like, nope, not going to do it. And so she puts on her silky robe, the one that goes to her thighs only, and she barefoot leaves that apartment. All she takes is her cell phone. And he's like super worried.
Yeah. So she gets home and Carrie lets her in. Oh, by the way, Carrie has been dating this super cute, actually like stable emotionally
wonderful
human
dude
named Trey. But when she gets home, a hot blonde model is walking out.
A lady one.
She's like, Trey, what are you doing?
She's like, that's not Trey.
Like,
Carrie's like, what he doesn't know won't hurt him. He says, I think I'm in love. He's like the best person I've ever known other than you. But what he doesn't know won't hurt him. Carrie. Carrie is he's self-destructive.
Yeah, I need to know why Carrie.
Hey, heavingbosoms.podcast@gmail.com. What is Carrie's deal? Do we ever get a side plot of him on a healing journey and happy with maybe Trey or someone else? Just if it's a side plot, you know, we understand he doesn't get his own book, but like, let us know what happens with Carrie, please. Thank you so much. Or
is Sylvia Day one of those assholes where she has 18 series?
Also, yeah, whatever the intel is, just let us know in our email box.
And by asshole, I mean favorite person.
Yeah.
To be clear. So she ends up getting home and now she gets to work and she gets an inter-office envelope memo. And when she opens up the letter, it is a message from him saying, thank you.
Thank you for everything.
And her keys. And then she doesn't hear from this motherfucker.
Which is a breakup.
For 4 days. Yeah.
She never asks him about this. She never asks him about this. And I don't understand. I would need to know exactly what your thought process was for saying thank you for everything and giving me my keys back if it's not a breakup, Gideon. What the fuck were you doing? What?
4 other books.
No. I refuse.
Listener,
I refuse that in 700 pages she finally asks what he was thinking. I refuse to believe that.
I think it's cute that you think it's only 700 pages.
I'm saying it like if it happens in book 3, you know, like 700 pages from now or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so then Magdalena, what ma'am, shows up at her office and the front desk person is like,
she's like, hey girl, there's somebody here to see you.
And then she does this, goddamn, I love you, Ava. She goes down a boundary. She's like, she calls up to Gideon's assistant and is like, hey, Magdalena's here and we have nothing in common except for Gideon. And so she should be here for him.
She should say whatever she needs to say to Gideon and not me. Thank you so much.
I loved that. Then we have the most, because we got a motor, so we're just about to blow through some shit. She has the most insane therapy experience with her mom because her mom is freaking out that she told Gideon about her history with her stepbrother.
And how could she do that to the mom is what she asks her out loud. How could you let somebody know my personal shame?
Oh my God. And then this therapist
is an enabler.
I don't know that this therapist should still have a license, frankly, because this dude is literally like, well, maybe he like taws her mom.
Yeah. Is there a compromise on the stalking? You know, can we explore a stalking compromise is what he asks.
No.
Guess not.
Guess what, Mom? I'm the one who was sexually assaulted as a youth.
Yeah.
Like, you need to get the fuck over yourself.
And now I'm a complete adult is what I am, and I get to do the shit I want to do. But no, he's like, yeah, well, maybe we can set up like a text message protocol, like to make sure that you're in touch with her at least every other day or something. Get out of here.
I think that you and I specifically...
Oh, we are not the audience for this.
We're not the audience. I was like... I would never have moved to New York City.
No.
My mom lives there? No.
No. Absolutely not. I would be at least 4,000 or 5,000 miles away from this mom. Without a doubt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then she goes to this party with Carrie, and Gideon shows up unexpectedly.
Yeah.
does not ever come to this party.
And it's a formal garden party, okay? Like, people are wearing tiny hats, okay? And he walks in like ripped jeans and a white button down that's not tucked in at all. And he's like, his hair's all fucked. And he looks like he's been on a 2-day bender. And like, he kind of has been, but it's been an emotional bender instead of a substance bender.
He yoinks her into a library.
He says, I don't want you here. He says, you should not be here. And she's like, oh my God, I'm broken. He doesn't want me around his family.
Listener, he convinces her that it's not because he doesn't want her here. It's that he doesn't want her here. Specifically at this house. He's like, you know all those things that I won't tell you about?
It all happened here.
It all happens here.
Yeah. Well, and also, he's like estranged from his family, essentially, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
But then...
we have a hot library scene, listener.
Wow! So many different kinds of sex at the same... Well, and then, and also, I don't know, I had to talk to you about this. I was really uncomfortable with what happened later in this scene. It started fine.
Which part?
So they end up like, he's like, I've been a mess without you. I was hoping you'd come back on your own. He's thinking, oh my God, because when he was having his nightmare, he was also like furiously and like angrily masturbating at the same time in his sleep.
That's why she was like, there's something wrong here and I need to know about it. Yeah, it was the worst nightmare that she's witnessed, for sure.
And so he's like, I know you were disgusted by what you saw the other night. And she's like, Gideon, no. Nothing about that was disgusting. I was just I'm worried.
I was worried about you.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I want to help. And he's like, I need you. I need you so much. I've missed you so much. He ends up just like fucking her against the stacks in there.
Fucks her over the couch.
Sure.
He pulls her up and then they're just standing
and
there.
Maybe against a window?
There's a lot going on. But at one point, he ends up like... she puts his hand basically on...
Also, Magdalena walks in and they make big ol' eye contact. Okay. She and Magdalena just like really stare each other down, and then she and then when she comes out of her orgasmic bliss, Magdalena is gone. And he has no idea because he has his back to her. I'm so sorry. So then like at one point because he comes
is it
inside
the anal
her.
stuff
Yes.
or his brother's stuff that you were uncomfortable with?
It's the anal stuff because he does the thing where he's like, I'm going to feel my cum inside you. And so he puts his finger like in her vaginal canal and he's like, oh my gosh, it's so slick. And then she pulls his hand from the front.
I'm just throwing this out there to any author listening.
Yeah.
There's not enough fingering your own cum in somebody in books.
Sure.
I'm just putting that out there.
It's an underused device.
There's also not enough going down after coming in them.
Yeah, okay, yes. Fair.
There's more I would say that there's
more of that.
A lot more of it, but also it's mostly aliens that I read that in.
Sure.
So like
sure.
I could use it in a non-sci-fi or monster. You know, I'm just throwing it out that there's not enough.
And you've also called for more hetero lady rimming dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina's put the call out.
That too.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because I can't actually, the thought of rimming.
Sabrina's not into it. You should have seen
it was for somebody else that I made that call.
The one-eyed grimace.
I can't. I'm so sorry. I'll do it with a dental dam. I can't. I don't care how clean you are. I cannot stop thinking about the
all
E. coli.
the bacteria of it all.
The pink eye. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know it's fun. I'll finger your
fine.
butt.
You get to have limits.
I'll finger your ass.
Sure.
I'll fuck the hell out of your ass. I just can't put my mouth there. I'm so sorry. Without a dental dam.
Yes. Yeah, but like, get a bitch a dental dam. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
keep that shit on. Nobody keeps dental dams.
No. More dental dams in romance, okay?
Yeah, more dental dams in romance.
So his fingers are slick in his cum, and so she pulls his hand from the front and like around to her ass. And she's like, you are like every sexual experience we have, you're slowly stitching me back together, basically. Like you're giving me my body and my power and my pleasure back. And I want you to do that for all of me because she's had really traumatic anal experiences. And so he looks at her and he says, I don't do anal play. And and that is when she says, you're the healing power of Gideon Cross, I think can shine a light on my asshole and make it better. And so I feel like she pressured him into this kinda. And I don't know. I felt really weird about it because he said, I don't do anal play. It was said as like such a hard limit. And then 2 sentences later,
So the
he's
way
like,
I took it
okay, yeah.
is he said, I don't do anal play. Like exactly what you said. And then she explained, like the way I took it is she explains to him why she initiated it. But
Sure.
it didn't feel like pressure to me.
Okay.
It felt more like him going, okay, she want like it felt like a given, like her explain. It didn't feel pressury to me. In a different book,
Okay.
it would have felt pressury and problematic. I actually loved that scene.
Okay.
I loved that part.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Yeah. So like, I had to read it twice.
Yeah. And like one of the really interesting and beautiful components of that section, even though I felt a little squicky about it, what did make it better for me is that at one point he looks at her and he says, why me? And it's almost as if the honor of giving her power and her body and her pleasure back overrides his discomfort with anal play. But then she gets really weird when he asks her for a safe word. And she does like the Anastasia Steele, I've never heard of any kind of BDSM play thing. And she's like, why would we need a safe word? And from here on out, basically, she's going to equate being submissive for not being allowed to say no.
Yes.
And it's really annoying to me.
This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. 1 purchased equals 1 donated. Now go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
I thought it was really well done.
It's a common misconception for sure.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think that if you and I read the rest of the series, I have suspicions about how that would play out.
Sure.
I thought that the introduction to BDSM in this book was actually pretty phenomenal.
Okay.
I love the fact that part of it, because this is another common misconception, is she's like, I don't do pain with my pleasure.
Yes.
And he's like, that's not what we're doing here.
Right.
And she's like, but you're talking like you're a dominant.
Yeah.
And he's like, I am a dominant.
And you're submissive.
And you're submissive.
Like
And
you've
she's
known
like,
I've been dominant our whole relationship. I'm just letting you know that you are submissive.
yeah. And this happens later, this whole conversation.
Yeah.
But like, this is kind of the introduction to all of that when he brings up the safe word thing. And like, actually, if I do finish this series, it is explicitly to see how the BDSM continues in this series.
Okay.
Because even people who have been in the scene for a long time
Mm-hmm.
have this misconception that all BDSM includes pain.
Yes.
Like, it is expected that there's spanking. It's
Yeah.
expected that there's whipping, there's flogging, there's pinching. Like,
Caning.
what a cane. Even light pain, like I can't think of what they're called. I can never remember what they're called, but like the spinny wheel with the pokey poke.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
It's
Yes.
It's a tactile thing. It's
right.
It's a
pokey
feeling
pizza
thing.
wheeler.
Yes.
It's a pizza cutter with spikes.
But it gives little like pinpricks,
Yeah.
you know, depending on how hard you push, you're going to get some pain. And like, there's this idea, like a lot of people push hard on it because that's a thing. Like, there's this idea. Listen, BDSM, yes, sadism and masochism are in that. It is in there. BDSM. However, there's domination and submission too. There's bondage and like, there's so many things, and it doesn't have to fucking include pain.
Yeah.
It is not a problem if you enjoy pain with your BDSM.
Yeah, it can absolutely
It is
be
not
included.
a requirement.
Right. Well, and
yes,
what I thought was interesting about this, and I think it's just because of like her fundamental lack of experience and understanding of what BDSM is, but very early on in the book when she's like negotiating and telling him like why she can't have a sexual relationship the way he wants it, the way he's presenting it, part of her reasoning is I need an equal exchange of sexual experiences, and I need to have more power than my partners.
Yes.
Those are her two options. And so, I don't know. I think he does a pretty good job of explaining like the power exchange and the misunderstanding that the dom is the one with all the power and, you know, that kind of thing. But it doesn't sink
feel like
in.
they didn't have that like they talked about domination and submission and but I thought it was interesting that they even got into like topping versus bottoming.
Yeah.
Which
and topping
is
from the
another
bottom.
There's a misconception that like a dom is a top and a sub is a
Yes.
bottom, and that's not always how that works. And this felt very promising in this first book in a way that I just don't see a whole lot of. Like, I like that there's a lot of misconceptions. Like, by the end of this book, if you're reading this series for BDSM and you read just this first book, you're not going to have any idea what's happening because she doesn't have any idea what's happening. This is a first-person, single point of view book.
And there really isn't any.
No, there's not. But
there's no introduction
that,
to a red room or anything.
No, because he points it out. He's like, I've been the dominant in all of our situations. And she's like, no, you haven't. Because she's thinking latex. She's thinking leather. She's thinking red rooms of pain. She's thinking all of these things. And that's not what BDSM is. That's
that's a flavor
as this gigantic thing. Yeah.
Sure.
But like, that's not what the DS is necessarily. I would be interested. Not right now, but I might end up reading these. I want to see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see how it ends up being treated. And
I just thought she was annoying. That's all.
She is. Both of them are.
Yeah.
They both are. I don't know that I can do it because they exhaust me.
So they're back together now.
Yeah, they end up sharing rings.
Wait. Before that, she gets a text message from Carrie. He sends her a video that he sneaky took at the garden party, and it is of Magdalena and the brother Christian, like making out against a hedge, but also being like, God, she's only here for his money and his whatever, and like we have to break them up. And Christian's trying to reassure her that he's going to get bored with Ava soon. And then I guess he ends up having sex with her, and there's like a look of smug satisfaction on his face that makes it clear he doesn't care about her, that he's like using her kind of a situation.
Yeah.
And Carrie's like, you need to stay away from this dude. This dude is awful. And she's like, oh shit, yeah, that almost looks like a different person from the way he's been presenting to me.
Yeah, and he warns her. He's like, I told you you need to stay away from him. Like, bad news bears.
Yeah.
He will
Sinister.
definitely use you to get to me. Like, it's bad.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Listener, very curious.
What's going on there? I wonder.
What's going on with
Do you want to email us
Christian?
about it? Look,
Yeah.
you're welcome
Christopher?
to, is all we're saying.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah.
So then we see like a bunch of scenes of them getting closer together and like love
And she's sending him an
intimacy.
entire flower shop. They're grand gesturing at each other.
This is one of the cutest things ever. Okay, so
Okay.
Gideon gives her a ring, right? And it is what it is, right? Like, it's a reminiscent of their relationship. It's not a marriage ring, whatever, but it's fine.
got
It's cute.
ropes
It's
and
pretty.
crosses on it. And she's like, is this like bondage stuff? And he's like, no, I look at it as the threads of our relationship, and then the crosses are me, and I'm holding you together, I think is the symbolism he brings out of that. It sounds like an
Something
ugly
like
ass
that.
ring. I'll tell you
It
that
does.
much. Sounds real ugly.
And then
real tacky.
And then she tells him that she loves him in a car at some point, and he doesn't respond. But he's like shooketh
Yeah.
by it.
Down to his core.
And she's like, I'm gonna have to tell him that another time. But then they're at work, and at 10 o'clock sharp, I had 24 long-stemmed red roses delivered to Gideon's office with the note, in celebration of red dresses and limo rides. 10 minutes later, I received an inter-office envelope with a note that read, let's do that again. Soon.
Nah.
At 11 o'clock, I had a black and white calla lily arrangement delivered in honor of black and white garden party dresses and being dragged into libraries. 10 minutes later, I'll be dragging you to the floor in a minute.
Whoa.
And then she calls Gideon's office and talks to his assistant and is like, hey, I need a 15-minute window. And she's like, thank you so much for your help, Scott. And he says, you're very welcome. I've enjoyed watching him receive your flowers today. I don't think I've ever seen him smile like that.
Ah.
And then at 2, she sends him a tiger lily,
Mm-hmm.
like, bouquet. And it, like, he responds, like, super, like, all of these, like, sexy inter-office memos or whatever and
Mhm.
thing like that. But more specifically, when she goes up there for that 15-minute thing, she has gotten him a ring
Yeah.
that, like, reminds her of him.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, when she gets up there, she's like, I'm so sorry for distracting you all day.
Mhm.
And she's so nervous about him with this ring. And he is just...
Overcome.
It's very clear that nobody has ever made this kind of effort
Mm-hmm.
for him. And
Yeah.
it's just, it was really cute. Because, like, I just love that. Like, especially a character that they have everything. If he wanted a ring or flowers, he could buy it.
Sure.
But somebody else
It's the
doing
thought,
it
the
for
gesture.
him. Yeah. Especially because he's like, what you said in the car, if this is you giving me gifts to butter me up so that you can take back what you said,
Yeah, so you can
And she's like-
retract your I love you.
that's not what's happening. And he's
No.
like, will you say it again then?
Aww.
And she's like, I love you. And it was just, I felt very warm and fuzzy about it.
And she makes it clear, like, you don't have to say it back. You don't have to do anything. I just want you to know that because I feel like you need to know that.
Mm-hmm. So then we have another sleepover, and this sleepover goes bad. So, content warning, sexual assault, dreams.
Oh my God.
Nightmares. It's a whole thing.
It's awful.
She has a nightmare that she's being raped by her stepbrother.
Yeah.
And it feels very real. And then she realizes that she recognizes the voice, and it's Gideon. He is also having a nightmare, and he is essentially on the verge of raping her.
Because he is attempting to, like, get revenge on his attacker.
Yeah, it's rough. Obviously, Carrie hears her screaming,
Yeah.
comes in, yanks him off. It's this huge thing. Gideon is horrified.
Obviously.
She's horrified. Everyone's
And triggered.
horrified.
Yeah.
There's no win. There's nobody winning in this situation.
No.
Everyone's losing in this situation. It's triggering and horrifying.
Yeah. And Carrie's like, I'm calling the cops. And she says, dreaming, he was dreaming. He didn't mean to. And Carrie's like, I don't think that makes it better necessarily, you know?
Yeah.
And then Gideon tries to leave because he doesn't want to be a danger to her. And she is like, if
She
you
doesn't-
leave, we're not
This
going to
is
be able to
over.
come back from this. We need to sort of weather this storm together. And once she convinces him that this is necessary, he tries to get the same reassurance she asked for when she told him about her childhood assaults and like, do you still think I'm sexy? And understandably, it's too triggering for her at that point. And so she tells him, like, I can't do any of that, but like, will you hold me?
They end up falling asleep on the floor. Melody, I have a question for you.
Please.
They fall asleep on the floor together, and she wakes up before he does. It's like 3 a.m. And to wake him up, she puts her hand in his pants and grabs his dick.
Yep.
What?
What do you not understand about the context clues you're getting from his nightmares?
Well, not only that, like,
No, I know. That is a trauma refractory period of a Texas oil pump. Is what that is.
And then waking up, like, I can only imagine what it's like for him waking up into that. But that's not how it ends up being. He wakes up into it and it's fine. They have sex and she's almost she is triggered, but then she's
powering
gets control
through it
over it, and then it's okay once they have this like connection again. Like they make eye contact and it's like, I am the one that's here with you. It's not him. It's not whoever your person is. And they have this like connection. And I love that this isn't a fix-all.
Yes,
They feel more connected after this, but she's still uncertain.
Yeah, and she's like,
this.
I think you should really look into therapy. And he's like, no worries. I have a therapist who would like to treat me and your mom and maybe even you separately. Who knows? He's like, it's a value deal with this therapist.
Regardless of the questionable ethics of the therapist that they have,
we can look past that.
Love. That's one of my favorite things about this book again. And literally reading this book, I hit that scene and I had to pause and think about it for a second. And I was like, I am definitely pro therapy, period, obviously. And I'm pro couples therapy, even though the one time that I tried the experience didn't go well.
Okay.
But I was like, man, I love that from the very beginning. Yes, they need therapy. This couple specifically does. But I was like, I love that she just came in and she was like, I want to do couples therapy. Will you do that with me? And he's like, am I fucking up that bad already? Yes, Gideon, you are. But she says no. It's just I think that it would be helpful for us personally. And it was so sexy to me that he's like, yeah, all right. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Well, and it's like Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard. They've been in couples therapy since the beginning of their relationship because it's like a prophylactic. They're like, we are not going to wait for problems to get our communication on point. We're going to do it from the beginning and continue.
Who are these people?
Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard. They're both actors. Kristen Bell's been...
They're actual people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were referencing a character, and I was like, what book is that?
No, I wish. Yeah,
I just loved it, because, like, I'm definitely a proponent of couples therapy in general. Like, I think that might be a hard line now. I love that idea. From the very beginning. Don't let it get bad. Like... Oh my God, why not?
Have somebody else shine a light on your different communication styles and how you can meld them together in a healthy way.
Oh, so beautiful. So they end up going to like a gala at some point. Oh, he does start therapy. We do Zippy Zap for like a couple of weeks, and he starts therapy on his own. They start doing couples therapy once a week, although we don't actually see any of their couples therapy on page. They go to a gala. And this is when she meets his ex-fiancée, Corinne.
Yeah, she thought that he's had no significant relationships before. Meanwhile, he's had a whole ass fiancé.
How did Carrie not find that when he Googled?
Right?
You know?
That had to be everywhere, right?
Why was that not in it? Why was that not in the little dossier that he gave her the morning?
Yeah. Anyway, well, and it's really funny because they're just going around And then he sees this person and like stutter steps. And he's like, I have to introduce you to someone. Then takes her over there and just introduces her like a person.
This is after he gets jealous of her talking to her step cousin.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah.
He pees in a circle around her and then goes off and introduces her to Corinne, but explicitly does not state that this is my ex-fiance.
So then she's like, oh, I hope you can let me borrow him for a minute. Oh, well then she's like, Corinne says, any friend of his is a friend of mine. And then she goes, oh, I hope that's the same for girlfriends.
They're both such unhinged little monsters about each other.
It's so funny.
Do you know how fast I'd walk out of that building if I got that kind of interaction? No, I'm not interested.
I gotta go. Yeah.
But she sticks it out. She sticks it out. And then she finds out because Magdalena comes up. Magdalena has chopped all of her hair off. And
because
she ends up
Magdalena's a crazy person. She's had long hair so that she could imitate the one who got away from Corinne. Oh my God, Magdalena! Get a life! Find a hobby! Magdalena, you're worth so much more than this.
Melody, she does have a hobby.
It's
Milk, 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 milk.
None of
these women are bananas.
all of these women, their hobby is Gideon cries.
Not into it. So Corinne takes her away, and Magdalena sits down, and she's like, oh, hey, babe, I'm so glad that you got to meet his old fiance. And all of a sudden, she's like near fainting, okay? She's like wobbling on her stilettos.
And
Magdalena's
honestly
like, oh, you should sit down.
I cannot believe the most out of character thing in this entire book is that she did not immediately take those stilettos off her feet and go stab that woman
Corinne
in the back of the fucking back.
Just start blunt force traumaing her into submission. Yeah.
I fully saw her just like shish kebabbing that woman with her fucking Louboutins.
Even if they're not Louboutins, they're going to be red bottoms soon. You know what I mean? Jesus.
If you can't do store-bought, make your own.
Makeshift Louboutins. That's right.
Yeah,
that's
like
right.
we like a little DIY in the, on the wealthy side of Manhattan.
That's right. Yeah, so Magdalena tells her the whole backstory, and she's gleeful about this. She is so excited to wreck her whole day and tell her about the one who got away, the old fiancé who broke up with him and then married a Frenchman. And she got divorced from him, and now she's back, I guess.
And the reason that they got divorced, though, is because she married him to, got engaged to this dude, this French guy, in an attempt, because Gideon apparently didn't give her enough attention. We find this out later. And she couldn't handle his obsession with her. But then
it was like a
it's because
thing.
She actually was secretly in love with him. And I think that she actually went with this French guy to try and,
get him jealous.
Get him jealous and to go ahead with the marriage, and then it didn't work.
Yeah,
and then the French guy was like,
be happy.
"Oh, you don't actually like me."
Yeah,
and so he drifted away, and it's like, no shit, he drifted. All of you need therapy,
yes,
and not with that dude,
and to never speak to each other again.
Oh
Just
my God.
move
and then
to different countries and forget you have cell phones.
Oh my God! And then she straight up is ignored the rest of the evening. They're holding hands. He sees that she's upset with her, and then who's this Terry guy at dinner because they
what's
are
going on with Dr.
next to
Terry?
each other at dinner, and then this guy Dr. Terry starts talking to her, and he's like, "What's a pretty lady like you being ignored? Let's go get a drink." And she's like, "All right," and then he turns around like a fucking lunatic, holding her hand and tries to tug her down.
But yeah, because just to let you know, they've been holding hands the whole dinner. Both of them have been eating with one hand all dinner.
Twice they do this. They eat with one hand the entire meal.
And he's doing it with his left hand. That's not his dominant hand.
God.
He's just dropping shit all over his tuxedo and missing his mouth.
Submissive hand, listener.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, but the poor guy's just missing his mouth and trying to hold conversations with exclusively Corinne.
And you know he's got a third leg down there.
Yeah.
How it's honestly a miracle that he's getting any words out of his mouth.
Honestly. And so she tries to get up and he's like, what are you doing? You just stay with me.
She literally stands up and he turns over and he's like, leave her alone, Terry.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck are you doing? You've been ignoring me all night. And he's like, I mean, no, I haven't. We've been holding hands. Fuck off, Terry.
Yeah. And Terry's like, I don't have all the bazillions of dollars, but I know how to treat a lady really
And then-
great.
You know what?
I love
and then
her.
she's the best bitch because she
Mhm.
looks at both and she's like, actually, you know what? If you both will excuse me.
Yeah.
And then she does what she does best.
And goes
And
home.
she fucking stops right outside of that building.
She takes her ball and she goes home. And boy, she can't catch a break though, because when she walks into a full-on orgy, a
Oh my God.
MDMA orgy sex fest.
Everyone's on drugs. Everyone's drunk. Some guy starts to hit on her and like get up on her, and then Gideon appears.
Oh
out
my
of
God, out of the
nowhere,
fucking mist.
like a wraith.
Yes.
And he's like,
Never touch her.
from her, and like grabs dude by the neck and like Hulk throws him across the room.
Breaks his entire
Everyone-
face, I think. There's blood everywhere.
Everyone's screaming except for one naked woman who's like, hey,
Oh, hello,
sexy
Gideon.
man.
Hello.
And he's like not interested. And then it was
Carrie, okay, meanwhile, we forgot to tell you that Carrie got caught by Trey fucking that
Cheating.
other lady. And then, like, poor Trey, like, ended up having some
Breakup
really breakup
sex.
sex with Carrie. And she was like, hey, Carrie, you're doing the self-destructive thing again. And Carrie was like, fuck right off and never talk about it again. I'm going to do what I want. And then he, like, ran out of there. Oh, my God.
Well, and then he very specifically starts saying like really pointed, fucked up things to his
Yes.
friend.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have never understood. Some people have friendships like that where they
Where they can just lash out.
can just lash out at each other like that.
I
I don't
don't
have a single
understand.
friend like that. I'm not that person.
No.
Like, if you lash out at me like that and you think that we're besties, we're not.
No. No.
I'm cordial with you because I'm an adult.
I mean,
But
I've discovered recently that like that's a hard limit. The way that people communicate with me and the way that people treat me in times of like strife and stress and all of that is a hard
Stress.
limit for me. I didn't know that not everybody was like this. But yeah, like if
what do you mean?
I found out recently, my brother and I both found out that like we are, I guess one of our shared responses to our upbringing is that we are sensitive to the way that people communicate with us. And
Yes.
so like I'm really careful when I talk to people. Like I get more careful, more quiet, more like focused if I'm upset because I don't want to say anything that they'll never unhear. Because, like, that is something that will break a relationship for me. And it will immediately make me feel unsafe. Because if you have that little care for my feelings, no matter what kind of stress we're under, then, like, that shows me how much you care about me overall.
Yeah, same. Well, so like I run into this thing where it's easier to just say that I'm conflict avoidant. I'm not actually conflict avoidant.
Right.
I have no issue discussing conflict,
Yeah.
but I have an issue with your tone of voice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very easily triggered if you raise your voice at me.
Yep.
Like
Same.
it's very clear to me if you're raising your voice about something cuz like I'm a loud person. I have no
Yes.
problems with that. But if you raise your voice at me,
Yes.
like I am the crux of whatever like
Yeah, whatever the issue is.
I will shut down.
Same.
I don't have it's a freeze. I like this is
And
the end of
meanwhile,
a
I'm an
productive
immediate
conversation
flight.
because I'm a fawn.
Yeah.
So
okay.
like you raise your voice, like, I am immediately going to be placating the absolute hell out of you.
Yeah.
Whereas when it comes down to it, I don't have an issue with conflict. I don't have an issue with talking things out.
No.
I love talking things out. Like if you have an issue, bring it up to me.
That's
If
one of
I'm
my
doing
favorite
something
parts of
to
our
stress you
friendship. It's
out-
always been one of my favorite parts about our friendship.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
like
Well,
we're
because like even
both-
when we have problems, because like, listener, it's shocking. It's almost like when you have a thing like a podcast together. Sometimes you affect each other.
Yeah.
If you're, yeah, it's almost like, and it's not just like it
If you-
affects the other person. It affects all of the listeners.
Yeah, and,
or
like,
all of the, and so like we have
and
to
the
call each other out
transition-
sometimes.
Yeah, and the transition to like adding a huge component to an already standing relationship. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's big, but
yeah, and it's like
I'm never scared to talk to you about it, even though we know that we each have those like text message responses. I know that my body is having this physical response.
And I need that reassurance from you.
Yes, but I'm not afraid to ask you for
Rationally.
it.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
And even when I'm afraid to bring something up to you, it's not because I'm afraid of what your reaction is. It's just because I am afraid of people's reactions to that type of thing.
Yep.
But the difference is it might take me a couple of days to like, oh God, get it out there, like past that barrier of entry to having the conversation. But it's not because I think you're going to have a bad reaction. It's just my own personal trauma response.
Same.
And so like,
and my thing is,
I love
is like,
it.
I have to work up. I have to work up whether or not it's worth having the
Worth bringing up.
conversation. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a big part of it for me. Is it productive communication or am I being a bitch?
Well, that's one of the crazy. That is okay. So this is one of the craziest things in this book is how fast everything happens, and like this and that, and they do like they keep running and then coming to each other, and then being codependent and like forgiving each other, and like it. This is a very emotionally fraught book.
Yeah,
between two characters,
it's so
like
tired
they are constant.
In here.
Yes,
as a result.
I'm definitely not this person. But it boggles my mind, and it always blows my mind in general in romances or any book. It's been a long time since I've read anything but romances. Oh my God. Or when people talk about their real life lived experience and they're like, yeah, we had the entire conversation in 2 hours and we knocked it all out in an evening and like it was really and I'm like, you didn't take a break to like
cool down a little bit?
Think on it? You didn't, like, what happens if you process it and realize there was something else you needed to bring? Like,
yeah.
So it's just done. Like, the fight is done, period. You can't, like, revisit.
Oh,
and I'm like...
You should be able to
revisit it. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were shocked about revisiting. Like, I don't, like... I think that this is something that's going to run into them is they keep doing this thing where the fight is done and it's never going to be a problem again. We see it in this book where like the fight is done, quote unquote.
Yeah. The dragon is slayed. That's a chimera.
Sometimes it takes you a week to process what actually happened and then you're like, actually, I need to discuss this though.
Yeah.
Like this is something that I didn't realize bothered me, but the fact that it's like simmering in here for the last week and I'm realizing that it is a problem, I want to discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an attack, bud. I'm not bringing the fight back up and these
I'm not harping.
Could never do that.
No.
They could never do that.
No.
What? This isn't a new fight. This is just, oh, good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
They exhaust me. These are people that like, I enjoyed reading this book, but my God, I don't want to be within 10 feet of you.
No.
Ever.
No.
Oh my
I
God.
want to hear third-hand stories once a year about you. That's what I want. I want 2 degrees of separation where I go out with a person for drinks.
Yeah.
And we spend the whole night and they just regale me with your soap opera.
Oh my God. Did you hear what happened with Gideon?
What a fucking dream. What a fucking dream
did the other
evening.
day?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, because that's the thing. I'm a slut for drama.
Yeah.
But I would literally rather die than be in the middle of it.
No, same. Yeah.
Like, just dig me a grave, actually. That's a better use of your time.
Yeah. Well,
I'd rather just be done.
Yeah.
Cut you out. Or cut me out. I don't care. I don't want to be here anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he goes to therapy and he gets like sleep meds that are going to help him with his nightmares.
Dr. Peterson, after one meeting, one 1 hour long session, has decided that Gideon is an atypical sexual parasomniac. Is the word?
Yep.
And so now he gets drugs.
Don't worry, there's a magic bullet. Dr. Peterson has it and he prescribed it. And now Gideon has it. And he gets just like, it's a horse tranquilizer is what it is.
Like he goes to sleep and he just does not wake up. To the point where he's not comfortable with them sleeping in her apartment because if Carrie brings somebody home,
Yeah, he can't protect
can't
her.
protect her. But he's not going to wake up from nightmares because he is tranked within an inch of his life.
Yeah, he's full on ketamine, I think. So this is where it gets fuzzy for me because they're like mostly together until the end.
So this is one I think is generally fuzzy because what I suspect is a lot of stuff gets cleared up in the next 4 books. I think that this last like 40 pages of the book is purposefully murky.
Okay, yeah.
Because we can't know. Like, we start to kind of have more hints about his history. We learn about his side of things with Corinne. We learn about how the first time he ever had consensual sex was in that hotel room in his fuck pad.
With Corinne.
And that is the only place he has ever had consensual sex.
Until he met Ava.
Yeah, she's the first woman who has ever been to his apartment. Like,
yeah.
Period.
Yeah. And now we know why he kind of got catatonic after fucking in that limo. Like, that's very jarring.
So, I have a couple of issues here, okay?
Yeah.
Firstly, she was still not under. Oh, this is also when we have the BDSM conversation when he's like, I'm a dominant, you're a submissive. And she's like, I'm not a submissive. And he's like,
You're naturally a submissive.
Me.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like,
it doesn't mean
like,
you're giving up your agency. It doesn't mean he doesn't say any of that, but I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. I like I said, there's a lot of
hopeful.
Promise.
Yeah.
In this book, part of me never wants to continue reading because I don't ever want to know how it would be so easy to fuck it up so hard for me. This could either be one of the best BDSM series I've ever read in my life or the worst. And I don't know that I don't want to know which one it is, kind of. Oh, and then this boggled my mind. Again, it tracks for these exhausting characters, but she's pissed when she finds out that Corinne is the reason he needed to handle something and leave the very first gala they were ever at together. And she's like, oh my God, we fucked in the limo and then you left me at the gala for Corinne?
And like, I think he left for a phone call to Corinne.
He left for a phone call.
Is what he did.
She was still in France. She was still in France.
Yeah.
I have so many
They're
questions.
Sensitive about so much stupid shit.
Oh,
it called. Needed something.
I feel like they wake up every morning and they just
looking for reasons.
Grenades. For everybody. Landmines. They're like...
Yeah, where can I tap dance on a landmine?
They have an anxiety gremlin, but what it is every time... What's on the pages, they have like 18 books open, and they're like, if anybody fucking touches that topic, I'm gonna just rip the pin out of this grenade, and we're all going down in a fiery blaze.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those moments where delightful to read. I enjoyed spending a couple of hours in their orbit
meddling in these brains.
Boy, I would run so fast the other way.
So fast. Like, life should not be this hard, especially when you have so many resources.
Well, and that's the craziest thing is, like, you have so much money. You could literally fuck off to another country.
Yeah.
And never... Like, honestly, Ava, you're not running hard enough since you keep getting caught.
Right?
With the resources you have, do you know how far you could run? Ma'am, look at how far that chick from the opposite of you ran. She ran all the way to Europe and she was broke as shit.
Yeah.
Girl, you could have had a brand new identity and lived in a penthouse at the tippy top of the Empire or the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
And guess what? He never would have found you because, like, fuck, he's going to Paris. His ex-fiance's there with her cuckold husband.
Oh my God. And she's just waiting with that net, you know?
Yeah.
Waiting to catch a Gideon.
You don't even need to hide your information. He would land in that country and she would fucking grab him by the dick and take him to the closest... Where do you get married in France?
Church.
Yep.
A courthouse.
No, she would have taken him to Gretna Green.
That's the one. That's the
across
one.
the mini pond.
She would have
That's
gotten
not
there
right.
somehow, and we know
You
we
wouldn't
could
have had to
figure it
worry
out if we
about
had
it.
to.
And somebody out there is yelling, "There's no such thing as an apartment at the top of the Eiffel Tower."
know.
Bitch, do you have $5 billion? Because you could do it. Everything's got a price, unfortunately.
I'll furnish the Eiffel Tower for myself.
I feel like if you threw enough money at
Yeah.
the French government, and it sounds like her stepfather has
Could.
the money to do it.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Oh my God, Sabrina.
What a bonkers book.
What's your lady love?
Have I told you about Greek yogurt and maple syrup? My obsession with it lately?
No.
Okay, it's my little sweet treat. It's my little life hack.
Okay.
My healthy food hack. I
Yeah.
also just realized I meant to do something else as a lady love because I realized that so many of my lady loves are food.
Write it down. Doesn't matter. Write it down. You can do it for next episode.
I don't remember what it is.
Oh, cool.
There should have been there was something else, but now all I can think about is my sweet treat, Mel.
That's fair.
And boy, I went through an ice cream phase. I was eating a lot of ice cream, and then I was out of it or something like that, or probably I didn't have enough of it to satisfy the feral craving that I had.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted more sweet treat, and I was like, you know what I have? I have Greek yogurt. And usually I'll do like Greek yogurt and honey. I just a couple of months ago, I started adding maple syrup and it's delicious. I used to do that when I was like in the past as well, but oh my God, you can eat so much fucking Greek yogurt and be a healthy little gremlin. It is a great source of protein, and then you sweeten that shit up and shove it in the freezer while you like cook dinner, so it's like extra cold and creamy when it's actually dinner, like when it's time for dessert times. And I didn't think I had been eating that much Greek yogurt.
Okay.
I went to the store
Uh-huh.
to buy Greek yogurt. I found out they've increased the amount of Greek yogurt they've been purchasing
The store?
for the store.
Because of a one Sabrina Bradley?
They did it with Monster too, a couple of months ago.
No.
Yeah. I when I go through a hyperfixation, I live in a small enough town. I live in a small enough town that I impact the local grocers' purchase orders. And I found that out because I made some comment to the person who was stalking. And I was like, wow, y'all must have just refilled the Greek yogurt. Like, usually there's not this much here. Because it was like, there was so much of it.
Sure.
And there's never that much of it. And she was like, yeah, it's been like a couple of months or something. I was like, interesting. I am, if I could buy Greek yogurt by the gallon, I would, because I've been going through like 4 of them a week. It's fine.
Incredible.
So that's ultimately the Greek yogurt is if you need a healthy sweet treat, Greek yogurt and maple syrup.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. My lady love is a random social media post that I saw on Instagram. And it is I'll put it in the show notes because it's like one person posting about another person posting about their favorite responses to whatever. And so the original post was, I recently saw a TikTok where a woman asked, "Girlies, what are some of the things you do to be more whimsical? I love knowing about cute little habits. And I've never loved a comment section more. Some of my faves." And it's just this whole carousel of comments from some of the most hilarious women ever. So one of them is like, "I hold office hours every Tuesday at a local coffee shop, which means I sit on the couch and order drinks for 4 or 5 hours while various friends and acquaintances visit me to yap about books and gossip." That sounds like, what? That sounds like a
Wait, they
dream.
just stay there for multiple hours,
Yeah,
and
people
then people just
rotate in.
come by?
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. If I want to have negative thoughts about myself, I have to think them in a Cockney accent. I say, "M'lady," every time I pass a mirror.
Oh my God. But that's so cute. So funny.
I tell my dishes it's bath time.
I love that.
I like drinking water at night out of small wooden bowls. It makes me feel like I'm being nursed back to health by spirits. I tell my hamster not to answer the door for anyone before I leave. This person says, "Can you hold this, please?" when she sets her purse on an inanimate object. "Oh, can you hold this, please?" to a table. It's so funny. I call my to-do list.
Why do I feel like these are a bunch of things that Melody Carlisle immediately was like, I'm adopting that.
I'm
That's
adopting
mine
that.
now.
Yeah. I call my to-do list my ta-da list and do jazz hands as I tick things off. Ta-da!
Oh my God.
I say, "Well, good thing no one overreacted," out loud to myself after a good cry. Ooh.
I love that.
Yeah, another person always makes a purchase a gift and then writes themselves cute little notes like, "You deserve this."
Oh no, that would work on me though, because I would forget that I ordered
same.
it. And then it would show up and be like, "You're looking, hope you had a good, lovely day."
Yeah. One person says they listen to French music when they're grocery shopping on their headphones because it makes the whole thing feel more romantic and less mundane. Just flitting about the grocery store with French music
That
in your
reminds me of
ears.
like sitting in the back seat with like really dramatic soundtracks as a child watching like on road trips. It's like, oh man,
Yes.
look at this. Like I'm living my life. Look at like feel like
I'm so glamorous. And then the last one I'm going to read to you is, when I leave the house, I always tell my dog, "No parties while I'm gone," and then laugh so he knows he's 100% allowed to throw parties while I'm gone.
oh my God.
And this was just
Why are all
reminds
of
me
those so cute?
a while ago. I think it was on podcast, and because I told people that when I go by my book nook, sometimes, you know, those tiny book things where it's like a teeny tiny world in the books. A lot of times I'll go by it and I'll start stomping and I'll go fee, fi, fo.
What?
Because I'm a giant to the people in the book nook. I'm so big to them.
Oh my God, Melanie.
And it's so funny to me. So, anyway. I can't wait to tell my dishes it's bath time.
That's beautiful.
Anyway, hey, tell us your whimsical little habits. Do you have cute
Oh my
whimsical
God.
habits that that make you happy and amuse yourself for no reason? Tell us what they
if
are.
I have any off the top of my head.
I don't know. These
I'll have to
persons
think on
people are
that.
brilliant.
Those people are brilliant.
I need to do more just to entertain myself. That's great.
I want to be a person who lives a life of whimsy.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
And
in
I probably have a lot of, you know what I mean? Like I probably have a lot of them and I just don't
you don't think of them
think
as
of
like
them.
weird.
And the reason that it's not I probably have a lot of them. I definitely have a lot of them because I spend a lot of time alone
by yourself
with 3 dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one of the people said
I do sometimes. I have 4 chairs in my craft room, 4
Okay.
armchairs,
Mhm.
because there's 1 of me and 3 of my dogs,
Sure. Uh-huh.
and everyone needs a chair.
Yeah, full chair.
And occasionally, if we're all sitting on our chairs looking at each other, I do ask what our meeting today is about.
One of the people said that she wants to make sure she includes her dog. So while she does regular shit around the house, she teaches the dog how to do it while she's doing it. She's like, I think she was like, so then, you know, in
Did
order
I
to make
ghostwrite that?
yeah, should I teach you how to make coffee again? Because I feel like it's hard to remember when you can't practice because you don't have thumbs. And then she tells her dog how to make coffee while she's doing it.
Sometimes you've just got to describe out loud what you're doing.
Yeah.
Step by step.
Mm-hmm. I talk to my seedlings. That's something I do.
I'm so mad. I just remembered 3 lady loves I've been meaning to say
Write them
for
down right
weeks.
now.
I did. I already did. I
Good.
muted myself and I typed them down.
Good.
Oh my God.
All right.
Greek yogurt is so lame. The other things are so hyper fixated and cool.
Doesn't matter
Can't wait
that
to
it's
talk about them.
Future times. All right. Keep being a badass.
And love yourself as much as you love having an ethical therapist.
Love yourself as much as you love watching really mature, smart, grown-ass women lose their goddamn minds over an emotionally unavailable and stunted man. Because he's got icy blue eyes.
Love yourself as much as you love what is apparently a real thing, a Velcro bra that straps the bazingas down.
Yeah, it is
the
a real thing.
bazoombas are bazound.
Yeah.
Okay? Love yourself
absolutely.
as much as that bra loves your tits.
Love yourself as much as you love never in your life seeing a ratty gym outfit. All right. Bye.
Bye.
What a ride! Next week, we'll be back with Never Love a Highlander by Maya Banks. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you next week.